For so many of us, Taxi wasn't just a show. It was the end of a long day. The couch, the lamp, someone beside you. Those cab drivers at the Sunshine Garage felt like people we actually knew. That was 1978. The cast has lived entire lifetimes since then. Some are still performing at 91. Some left us far too young. And every one of them has a story worth hearing. Taxi gave us something rare, a group of strangers who became a family without ever trying. That feeling stayed with us, and so did the faces that made it real. I'd love to know who you watched Taxi with, a parent, a roommate. Maybe you watched it alone, and it still felt like company. Those memories are what this channel is built on. Share yours as we go. Let's start with someone who remembers it all, and I mean all of it. You could always hear Elaine before you saw her. That voice cutting through the garage, sharp and warm at the same time. Mary Lou Henner didn't play the girlfriend. She played the woman who held her own in a room full of men and never once asked for permission. Elaine was the one juggling it all. Single mother, art gallery receptionist, cab driver on the side. She wasn't written to inspire, she just did. For women watching in 1978, she was proof that strength didn't need to shout. Henner was 26 when Taxi began. Today, at 74, she's aging with incredible grace. She's currently starring off-Broadway in the play Pen Pals, still commanding a stage the way she always has. But here's what makes her unlike anyone else on this list. Mary Lou Henner has a condition called hyperthymesia. She can recall nearly every single day of her life since she was 11 years old. In 2010, 60 Minutes confirmed it. Ask her about a random Tuesday in 1981, and she'll tell you what she had for lunch. She wasn't just part of Taxi, she carries it with her. Every scene, every day, every detail. Tony Banta threw punches for a living, lost more than he won, got back up every time. And somehow, that made him the guy you rooted for hardest. Tony Danza didn't have to stretch for that role. Before Taxi ever found him, he was a real professional boxer. 9 wins, 3 losses, all 9 by knockout, 7 in the first round. A producer spotted him training at a New York gym and asked him to audition. He'd never acted a day in his life. He was 27 when he first walked into the Sunshine Garage. Today, at 75, he just turned 75 6 days ago. Time has only deepened his elegance. And the man hasn't slowed down for a second. He's currently starring off-Broadway in a new play called Broken Snow, alongside Tom Cavanaugh. He's touring the country with his live show Standards and Stories, singing Sinatra, telling tales, tap dancing for sold-out crowds. This May, he returns to Café Carlyle in New York. Tony Banta never got his title shot, but Tony Danza became the champion of something bigger. He became the guy America couldn't stop watching. He wasn't the only one on that set who'd already stood on a Broadway stage before the cameras ever rolled. Most people met Bobby Wheeler as the handsome dreamer, the guy driving a cab while waiting for Hollywood to call. But Jeff Conaway wasn't waiting for anything. He'd been on a Broadway stage since he was 10 years old. In 1961, Conaway landed a featured role in All the Way Home, a Pulitzer Prize-winning play. By his 20s, he was playing Danny Zuko in the original Broadway cast of Grease. The role that later made Travolta famous belonged to Conaway first. When Taxi came along in 1978, he was 27, already a seasoned performer playing a kid with a dream. Bobby was the character who reflected something private in all of us. The ambition we kept hidden. The fear that our big moment might never come. He smiled through it, and that made it easier to carry our own version of the same ache. Conaway left Taxi after the 4th season. He went on to play Zach Allen on Babylon 5, a role that earned him a devoted new following in the 90s. Life brought him real challenges along the way. He faced them as honestly as he could. He left us in 2011 at 60. But his Broadway roots, his Kanicki swagger from Grease, and that hopeful look Bobby wore at every audition, those still hold. The moment Simka opened her mouth and spoke Latka's made-up language right back at him, every viewer leaned forward. Nobody expected that. Nobody forgot it either. Kane was 28 when she joined Taxi. She'd already earned an Oscar nomination for Hester Street 3 years earlier. She won 2 Emmys for playing Simka, 2 for a recurring role. That almost never happens. Today, at 73, she still carries the same spark we remember. Last year, she reunited with Christopher Lloyd on NBC's Happy's Place, over 50 years after they first shared a stage together in a 1970s production of Macbeth. She's also in the Netflix film Roommates and continues as Pelia on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. Some people find their perfect match on screen. Simka found hers in a language nobody else could understand. If these faces are bringing something back for you, I'm right there with you. This is where it starts to hit different. There's more ahead, and I'd love to hear what you're feeling so far. What was it about Jim Ignatowski that stayed with us? He wasn't the hero. He wasn't the heart. He was the guy who drifted in from another dimension and somehow made everything better just by being confused. Christopher Lloyd was 39 when he first walked into the Sunshine Garage in that denim jacket. He played Jim as a man who'd lost his way, but never lost his kindness. A Harvard-educated trust fund kid who dropped out of life and found peace in the chaos. The driver's license scene alone, "What does a yellow light mean?" remains one of the greatest comedy moments ever put on television. It won him 2 Emmys, then came Doc Brown, then Judge Doom, then Uncle Fester. Lloyd built one of the most inventive careers in Hollywood without ever repeating himself. Here's what matters now. He's 87. He wears every year beautifully. In 2025, he reunited with Kane on Happy's Place. This past Valentine's Day, he posted a photo with his wife Lisa, married since 2016. And his family roots run deeper than anyone guessed. He's a descendant of a Mayflower passenger, and his grandfather co-founded Texaco. Jim Ignatowski came from old money on the show. So did the man who played him. That kind of detail doesn't show up in most scripts, but it belongs in this one. But there's one voice from that dispatcher's cage that everyone's been waiting for. It's been nearly 50 years since that raspy voice first barked out of the dispatcher's cage. And you still hear it. You hear it in every rerun, every impression someone does at a dinner party, every time a short guy with big energy walks into a room and owns it. DeVito was 33 when Taxi began. Nobody expected the guy behind the cage to become the breakout star, but Louie de Palma was impossible to ignore. He was petty, scheming, loud, and completely unforgettable. He was the boss we all had and the villain we secretly adored. His Golden Globe and Emmy proved what viewers already knew. Nobody else could have played that part. Before all of it, DeVito worked at his sister's beauty salon in New Jersey. One of his clients passed away, and her family asked him to do her hair for the funeral. That led to a job styling hair at a morgue. From there, he enrolled in makeup classes, stumbled into acting, and never looked back. Today, at 81, he radiates the same familiar energy decades later. He's still Frank Reynolds on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, one of the longest-running live-action comedies in television history. This past March, he produced the film Drag, which premiered at SXSW 2026, alongside his children Lucy and Jake. He made his Broadway debut at 72 in The Price, earned a Tony nomination, and returned to Broadway in 2023 with I Need That. The man who started in a morgue ended up becoming one of the most beloved faces in American entertainment. That's not a career. That's a miracle with a Brooklyn accent. Every sitcom needs someone to hold it together. The person who listens when nobody else will. The one who makes you feel like even a messy life can have some dignity. On Taxi, that person was Alex Reiger, and the man who played him understood that role better than anyone. Judd Hirsch was 43 when Taxi premiered. He'd studied physics in college, earned a degree, worked as an engineer at Westinghouse. Then one day, he walked away from all of it to become an actor. That decision changed television. He won 2 Emmys for Alex, 2 Tony Awards for his stage work, an Oscar nomination for Ordinary People, then another Oscar nomination for The Fabelmans in 2022, at age 87. Making him the second oldest acting nominee in Academy Award history. And he hasn't stopped. At 91, seemingly untouched by the years, Hirsch guest starred on the season finale of Fox's Doc just 2 weeks ago, playing a Holocaust survivor named Herman Zweig. 91 years old and still walking onto a set with the same steady presence he brought to that garage in 1978. Alex Reiger made us believe that showing up was enough. Judd Hirsch has spent his entire life proving it. There's one more face, the one some of you have been thinking about since this video started. The one who made us laugh in a language that didn't exist, and the one who left before any of us were ready. There has never been anyone like Andy Kaufman. Before him or since. He didn't tell jokes. He didn't do punchlines. He stood on a stage and dared people to figure out what was real. And most of the time, they couldn't. Dahblitz-Gravas was born from a character Kaufman had been doing for years, Foreign Man. A sweet, bewildered immigrant who struggled with every word and won over every heart. On Taxi, Latka became the soul of the show. Not because he understood the world around him, because he didn't. And that innocence reminded us of something we'd lost. Kaufman was 29 when Taxi started. He never considered himself a comedian. He called himself a song and dance man. He meditated 3 hours a day, practiced yoga every morning, never smoked, ate no meat. He lived with a discipline that didn't match the chaos of his performances, and that contradiction made him extraordinary. He was also a performer who couldn't be contained. Saturday Night Live's first episode, the Mighty Mouse lip sync, the Tony Clifton alter ego nobody could explain, the wrestling matches that made audiences furious and fascinated at the same time. He didn't want to be liked. He wanted to be remembered. Kaufman was 35 when he was diagnosed with a rare form of lung cancer. He left us on May 16, 1984, just 1 year after Taxi ended. The garage lost its gentlest voice. Television lost something it still hasn't replaced. Jim Carrey played him in Man on the Moon in 1999. Wrote a song for him that became one of rock's most lasting tributes. The Andy Kaufman Award honors comedians who push boundaries the way he did. His name became an adjective, Kaufman-esque, for anything that blurs the line between performance and reality. He gave us Latka, A man with no country, no language anyone recognized, and no idea how the world worked. And somehow, that character comforted millions of people. Because Latka proved you didn't have to understand everything to belong somewhere. You just had to show up with a good heart. That was enough. It was always enough. But we can't close this story without holding on to that voice a little longer. Andy Kaufman gave us something no one else could. Not comedy, not performance, something closer to wonder. He walked into rooms and changed the air. He made people laugh without ever telling a joke. He made people think without ever giving an answer. He left us in 1984 at 35, 1 year after the garage closed its doors for the last time. But Latka is still there. In every rerun, in every clip someone shares at midnight, in every kid who discovers that strange, sweet mechanic and feels a little less alone in the world. Some gifts don't come with an expiration date. His never did. Taxi was never about the cabs. It was about the people inside them. The ones trying to get somewhere better. The ones who made standing still feel like home. That piano theme is still drifting over the bridge. Louie's still yelling from the cage. And somewhere, Latka is still laughing at a world he never quite figured out. So let me ask you this. When you think of Taxi, where were you? Who was next to you on that couch? I'd love to read your memory. Every one of them matters. There are more stories like this one waiting. More faces, more songs, more nights we used to know. Until next time, hold on to that memory. It's yours.